Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for coming in to our No More Silent Real Table Talk. We thank God for you coming in and tuning in once again with us. Listen, we have a treat for you today. I'm telling you, just go ahead on and grab your tea, grab your water, grab your coffee, whatever makes you relax, and sit back in your living room, in your den, in your bedroom. You might be even on your job right there in your break room. So come on in, because we have a real good treat for you tonight. Thank you once again to our No More Silent Real Table Talk. And we thank God for you tuning in. Go ahead on and mash that share button, that like button. Call somebody, tell them to come on and tune in, especially the young people, because we are still talking about how can we encourage and motivate our young people to come back to the Lord or to come back to church. And so because this is some crucial time and they really need to be up under a covering. And so because they have lost so much confidence in us, we want to know how we can get them to come on back and start coming back, participating. And maybe you're probably saying, well, we got young people. But I'm telling you, you might have young people, but there are still a lot of young people that I am interviewing, that I am talking to, and they are still discouraged. Some of them they don't even want, they say we don't do church. And so that's not a good thing for me to hear. And so I'm got our evangelist, Beverly Manning. She's with us tonight. We call her Sister Bear. So she's better known as Sister Bear. So everybody knows Sister Bear.
Yes.
And so if you know Deliverance Prayer Tower, you know Sister Bear. She done talk to you some kind of way. On the phone, in person, done contact you, done call you, because she's the secretary / everything at Deliverance Prayer Tower. Whatever this young lady finds her hand to do, Sister Bev is a behind-the-scene person. And so we're going to go right on ahead. Hi, Sister B.
Hello, Apostle. How you doing?
Doing just fine. Thank you. You're so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Isn't she beautiful? Sister Bev is a pretty lady.
Oh, thank you. You too, Apostle. You're
Yes,
beautiful.
yes. And so we're going to go ahead on and I want you to tell a little bit about yourself, because I do know that young people is very, very heavy on your heart, and it's not just got on your heart, but they have been on your heart for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to talk a little bit about you, because a lot of people doesn't know all the things all the hats that you wear.
Yes.
Because you are a behind-the-scene person. And that's what I love about you. You don't have to be on the stage.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on the platform. You listen, whatever the assignment is, you just gets it done. Mm-hmm. So will you just go ahead on and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay, well, you already said my name. My name is Beverly Bell Manning. I'm from Waycross, Georgia. I'm like the sixth of 7 children. And I came from very humble beginnings. I'm the child that wasn't supposed to go anywhere, wasn't supposed to be anything. And that's really why I got a heart for children. I've always got the heart to mentor and go after that one that everybody says is not supposed to be anything. That child that I see that is struggling, or that child that needs that extra push up because somebody gave me a hand up and somebody pushed me. And, so coming up in Waycross, I found it hard sometimes coming up, because I grew up in a home where there was domestic violence. I grew up in a home where there was abuse, and my mother was a praying woman. She prayed constantly all the time. That's all I can remember. One thing about my mama, it was that she prayed, and she taught me how to pray. And she taught me that prayer was the key to open any door that I needed to open. Mm-hmm. And so what I believe is that what we lack when it comes to kids is we don't listen to them. Mm-hmm. We see them, we know they're there, but we overlook and we dismiss them so many times. and we don't get to the heart of what they're actually saying, and we don't listen to them on their level. You know, kids, they talk, and we hear them talking, but we don't understand what they're actually saying to us. They're speaking to us, and we don't even know, even as parents. I always tell parents all the time, you know, your kids are not going to tell you what they're really going through. They're going to tell you what they want you to know. And that's all they're going to tell you. So coming up, I went through some struggles coming up. I went through, like I said, abuse, molestation, you know, and things wasn't easy. And I wasn't supposed to be the child that was supposed to be anything. I wasn't supposed to make it, you know.
So, okay, let's elaborate on that a little bit. Okay, when you say, because, well, there's a couple of things that I want us to elaborate on. Is because you are saying some of the things that our last speaker was saying on last week. Mm-hmm. We had a beautiful young lady, Demetra Smith, and she was saying the same thing, and she's young. And she was saying about that the kids, that the young adults, or the children, whatever age bracket that they're in, that they're really saying something, but we're not listening. Mm-hmm. So here it is now tonight, you are still saying, so if it keep on being repeated, then we must have to do something about listening, bringing a listening ear to what the children, the teenagers, or the young adults, or whoever, the youth, whatever they have to say, because we have a tendency of dismissing, thinking that they don't know what they're talking about, or they're talking foolish, or whatever like that. So elaborate on, because I call it language, but what kind of language do we have to speak for the children to understand that we understand them?
Well, the language that you have to understand is, what parents have to understand is, we've gotten away from using our village. And the village is the people that's around us. We've gotten away from using the people that's in our core. We hide things. Mm-hmm. We don't like to include people in things that's going on with our family. We exclude them. We don't bring them to church. We don't put them on the altar. We don't come to our leaders. We don't pray for them. We don't involve them in church. We basically sit them on a pew. If we do bring them, we sit them on a pew and just forget about them. And sometimes it takes somebody on the outside looking in to see. And so when that person comes to you and say, well, I see little thing Bob over here, and there's something going on with him. Don't dismiss that. Maybe that it's not that person is trying to say something negative, but maybe they picked up on something about them. Because I was going through something and nobody saw it. I was going through depression. I was going through a suicidal spirit and I was full of anger. I was so full of rage and anger to the point where I could have killed somebody. And because I was angry because my mom had died, I was angry because my daddy wasn't there, I was angry because I was in foster care, I was just angry.
So you raised up in foster care after your mom passed away.
Yes.
How was that?
It was, sometimes, you know, you take the bad things to make it to good. I thought it was a bad thing at first, being a foster kid. I hated the term foster kid, a foster child. But being a foster child opened doors for me. It brought me into different people to help me. It's almost like a Joseph situation. Joseph got thrown in the pit. While he was in that pit, he had a dream before the pit. But when he got thrown in that pit, and I'm sure while he was down in that pit, just using my sanctified mind, he didn't know how his dream was going to come to filtration. He didn't know that he was getting set up for the dream, that it was going to come through being in that pit.
Wow.
So to me, being in that foster care was like being in a pit, because I was in foster care, even though I was in a home with family, my aunt. To me, it was being in a pit, because now I got to go down here. I'm a foster kid, and you know I got to have a social worker, and you know, to me it was demeaning. But it opened up doors for me. It got me in the face of people that helped me fulfill my dreams and my goals in life, and took me into places that I would have never ever been able to go if I had not been a foster kid. You know, so, and you know, even with moving to Savannah, if I had not been a foster kid, I would have never came to Savannah, because I came to Savannah with a group of foster kids.
Okay.
And when I came, I was like, oh, I like it here. And I always thought, so, well, maybe I should go to Savannah State. So sometimes the things that we go through, they seem like they're bad, but sometimes there are, what may be our downfall, may be our setup to something greater, to put us in the face of great men, our great women, to open up doors for us. But back to, trying to understand but we got to understand that when these kids come to us, the thing is, kids are only going to go to people that they trust.
That's true. You're right about that now.
And even in mentoring kids and talking to kids, the first thing I tell them is, you could trust me. I only share something if I feel like you're going to hurt yourself or hurt somebody else. But other than that, they got to know that they could trust you with what you're telling them. And they will talk to you, and they want to talk. They got things in them that's hurting them. And parents don't realize, when I use my mother for example, my mother wasn't the only one abused. My father never physically laid a hand on me. But when I saw my mother get abused, it was just the same as I was getting hit.
Wow.
Because she's my mother, and I didn't
Yes.
want to see her get beaten.
Right.
So when your children experience abuse and experience the lights being cut off and the gas off and being evicted, you're not the only one going through that. They're going through that shame right along with you. They're going through that turmoil right along with you. When they have to go to school with run-down shoes on and no clothes and no food in their stomach, they're going through that, and they're getting picked on and talked about because they clothes are not the right kind of clothes, or they're smelling not the right kind of way, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes, even as a teacher, I taught school, and teaching was not my major.
Oh, okay.
Teaching
So
is something I fell into.
So you was a teacher as well?
Yeah,
What grade did you?
I taught sixth grade. I taught sixth grade, and it was something I started doing. I started subbing. And the principal told me, she said, well, it seems like you're good at it. You want to start teaching full time? I'm like, okay, why not? But I went to Savannah State, and I got a degree in social work and with a minor in sociology. And really, I spent more time mentoring.
Being a foster kid.
And being a foster kid.
Okay.
And with a degree in social work, I spent more time counseling, because they came to school and they were hungry, and they came to school and they mamas didn't have the lights on. They came to school and they didn't have shoes and lunch money, and you can't teach them. They don't want to learn about Africa when they telling me, Ms. Manning, my mama just got evicted today. Okay, let's stop. One day, a child told me, Ms. Manning, I'm thinking about running away from home. No, let's stop. Let's talk about you running away. So when you're dealing with that, even in the church, these things are happening in the church. You can't shout over it. You can't dismiss it. You can't run from it. You can't hook 'em a shout over it. You got to deal with it. And if you don't deal with it, it's just going to be there. They sitting on the pews, and they looking, and they love God. They love God, but they don't want this God. They don't want this God that we portray.
That's right.
Because see, there's mama at church, and then there's mama at home.
So using that term, they don't want this God that we are portraying. Is it that they, just like you just said, and I'm hearing what you say, is it that they do, because I hear kids. Sometimes I be talking to them, and I remember my grandbaby, your goddaughter. What my granddaughter named now, because I got so many now, Brianna. And I was talking to her, and I was telling her, because she was just acting up. And I was saying, and you ought to do this, and God wants you to do that. And she said, well, that don't mean I don't love God. So that really had touched my heart, because even in the midst of her being mischief, she was letting me know I love God, and I know God loved me. So in the midst of you saying what you're saying, is that they don't want the God that we are portraying, the one that we pretend like we got, a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. And so, but if we begin to present the real God to them, then maybe they'll come on back to church, or maybe they'll come on back to God, you know.
And start utilizing them. I heard you talk a lot of times about the evangelists that drawed you in. And it reminded me of the story of me. When I first came to stay with my aunt, it was a requirement we had to go to church. And I remember I asked, could I join the choir? And the evangelist that was over the choir told me, no, you had to be saved. I didn't know anything about being saved, so I'm looking around the crowd. I'm like, okay, nobody up here saved. I know all these people. They doing the same thing I'm doing. So it discouraged me.
Yes.
But I was getting into church, and I was listening to the word, and I felt like something was changing in me, but that discouraged me. But then when we switched churches, I started getting, I like, okay, I gave it another chance, and I started getting in church. But it took one lady, I still wasn't saved. I was still doing what I wanted to do, but I was in church on Sunday, in Sunday school. I had joined the choir and everything. And she came up to me and said, I need help in the Sunday school room. And I said, I'm like, you talking to me? I was like, I'm thinking to myself, lady, you don't know what I be doing. You don't want me in no Sunday school room. And she said, yeah, come help me in the Sunday school room. And then after a while, she started coming in Sunday school. And I started teaching the Sunday school by myself, which made me start reading the Bible, which made me start studying, which made me start listening to the Bible, listen to the service even more. And the word started getting in me, and the word started welling up in me. And then I had to pray, and I started praying with the kids in the Sunday school. And I didn't get saved right away. But when I came back home from college, my first year of college, after I did everything I had to do, flunked out of college, and my mama made me come back home, and I went to college there. I came to myself, and that Sunday, they called everybody up and said, do you want to get saved? Do you want to get saved? And they got to me, and I said, yeah, I want to get saved. And I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Because that seed of righteousness was planted. And it was planted when that evangelist came to me and said, do you want to teach Sunday school? She didn't care about what I had did Saturday night. She didn't care what I was going to do Monday night.
But then listening to you, too, Sister Bev, that's how I got saved as well. The Bible says one must be wise in winning souls. And so I do know that we must be saved. I'm not contradicting the word of God. Let me say that. I'm not contradicting the word of God. Yes, we must be holy, but I remember somebody used to always say, the little old saying, you catch the fish and then you skin them.
Skin them, yeah.
You can't skin a fish before you catch the fish or something like that. But anyway, I'm saying that to say this because that's, she's deceased, dead and gone, but it was an evangelist, missionary Roundtree. And so I was out there doing all kind of stuff. Yeah, coming up in church, mom in church, evangelist and everything. And she began to point me out and begin to utilize me. And she made me too, the Sunday school of the Little Friends of Jesus. My Sister Bear.
I did the Little Friends of Jesus.
The Little Friends of Jesus. And I'm telling you, and when she told me to teach the Little Friends of Jesus, I didn't know the word. I wasn't saved, but it made me, on a Saturday night, pick up my Bible and begin to read the little lesson and everything. And that's how I got closer to God. So, but what we're doing now, we are casting them out. We're counseling devils and casting out people. And so we need to just stop throwing our young people out because of the mistakes that they are making, and just sit down and begin to explain to them and show them and teach them. That's what we have to do. We have to teach them. We just doesn't assume that they know. We have to teach them. And so listening at you, that made me take my mind back. That's the wisdom that they did back in you know, the olden days. But listen, by you being a teacher at school, being a foster kid, and now you're saved. And so you're getting ready to move now to Savannah. So talk about that.
I moved to Savannah in '93, and nobody wanted me to move to Savannah. Nobody wanted me to move to Savannah. I had, you know, I was working. I had visited here. I visited Savannah. I had a visit to Savannah State, and I was working in the college library back home in Waycross, and my boss' son went to Savannah State, and I met him, and he told me, you know, oh, you'll love it, and da 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 da, and I came, and I came for a second visit, and I fell in love with Savannah. I knew this was a place that I wanted to be at, and I never had any regrets. And I know that when you know that it's God sent you someplace, you know, things work out. I've had some pitfalls. I've had some trouble, but God was there through each and everything. Each and everything. I graduated from Savannah State in '96. I didn't even have a place to stay. Didn't have a job. I went back home for 1 week, and my aunt told me, she said, 2 grown women can't stay in the same house. And she gave me the money for the deposit on an apartment that I didn't even know where I was going to get an apartment at. Got my first apartment, got my first job, and I got a second job, and then I got a third job. I was working 3 jobs, trying to pay rent, and not too long ago that I got married. I had my first daughter at 28.
Beautiful daughter.
Yes, I had my first daughter, and I started teaching school. I had started subbing, and soon after that, I started teaching full time. But it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy.
But you didn't let the struggle stop you.
No, because every struggle, there was somebody there. That's the thing.
Yes, and being what you call, at that time, a misfit.
Yes.
That's what draw you to loving kids and having a burden for kids, because you could have discerned what they was going through. You had a passion and a heart for what they was going through. So that made you go back to school, and you have your bachelor.
I have my bachelor's degree from Savannah State in social work and a minor in sociology.
See, a lot of people does not know that about Sister Bear.
Yeah.
But Sister Bear, you have your bachelor, you have your master.
I have 2 master's degrees from Liberty University, one in family and children's counseling, and then I have one in pastoral counseling.
And so listen, so I'm telling you, she has some degrees, and she have helped out many others that got their degrees. I know you didn't want me to throw that out there, but I did. But anyway, because I'm talking about myself, I went back to Sister Bev encouraged me.
Yes.
Yes, it was this woman, and I thank God for her. It was this woman. I remember talking to her and saying that I wanted to go back to school, and I kept saying it and kept saying it until one day, she came to my house, knocking on my door, and she brought me the paperwork, and I think you took me to
I bought you a laptop.
Yeah, sure did. And I couldn't back up no more. I couldn't put it off no longer. She bought me everything that I needed at that time and took me to, what school did
Savannah Tech.
Savannah Tech. And when she took me to Savannah Tech, I had to get out and go in and apply. So Sister Bev had did that, because she is a strong person and she believes in education. Yes, she does.
It's attainable.
Yes. So even in the midst of that, because being a counselor, you are the one that speaks in the behalf of the children.
Yes, yes. I started mentoring when I was in college. I worked with my internship at Savannah State was with this organization called PROP, and I started mentoring. And a lot of times in the school system, they have counselors, but a lot of times some kids get overlooked. They get overlooked, they get dismissed. Kids, you know, they focus on certain types of kids. And I wasn't that kid that they would focus on. I remember in high school, you know, my parents were not, they could not read or write.
Wow.
My mother was very smart though. You had to be smart and compensate for something that you don't have. And so, and she pushed me to go to school and get an education, pushed all us to go to school and get an education.
Wow. Okay.
But a lot of times they get pushed aside. And so I remember even when I was in high school, the counselor called me into the office, and I had just took my SATs, you know, that's the test you take to get into college, and I didn't do well. I didn't do well. I didn't know I was supposed to pass it. I didn't know. They just said take a SAT if you want to go to college, and I didn't know any better, so I took it, and I didn't take it seriously. And he said, well, you know, you did really poorly. We just recommend, you know, they didn't even recommend I go to tech school. They told me just go get me a nice job, maybe working at Holiday Inn.
Now, I know that was
Burger
discouraging.
King.
I know that was.
And I cried and cried and cried. And I remember I didn't want to do it, but my aunt them had wanted me to be a debutante. And it was my senior year, and they wanted me to be a debutante. I was like, I don't want to be a debutante. But one of the organizers of the debutante, I told her, and she's like, you are an honor roll student. Why would he tell you that? And she encouraged me. She said, don't listen to him.
I wish he could be listening today.
Don't worry about it.
Yes.
You're going to go to college. And I did end up to go to college. So when I started mentoring kids, I try to tell them, you don't let anybody tell you it's not according to your grades, it's not according to your financial ability, financial status is not according to that. There's money out there. You just got to look. There's loans. There's financial free money. There's scholarships.
Speak that to somebody.
There's all kinds of money that you can take, that you can tap into, that you can look for. If you need help, look me up. I'm on Facebook, Beverly Bell Manning. I can help you. And there's all kinds of free aid that you can tap into. But a lot of counselors, you know, not all counselors, I'm not saying all school counselors, they don't take the time to help and give them the right kinds of tools that they need to graduate. And a lot of parents do not know, they don't know what classes their students should be taking in order to prepare them for these standardized tests.
Can you speak to a mother, because I know we had a rough year with the COVID and all of that, and with the school, and I know a lot of children have not been doing too good in school, and then some have been doing okay in school, but it just has been a big change.
Yeah.
And so graduation is getting ready. This right around the corner. And so can you talk to that mother? Because one thing about Sister Bev, during this time right about now, coming into January, she's talking to our youth, those ones that are getting ready for graduation, making sure that they're taking their pictures and making sure that they done got everything. So can you just talk to that mother or that child that is, you know, to let them know that just because of what went on this year, they don't have to skip college next year.
No, you don't have to skip college. Matter of fact, a lot of colleges are waiving the SAT. The majority of them are waiving the SAT, so you don't have to take the SAT. Go ahead and apply. Everyone is offering online classes. Some are offering classes on campus if you don't feel like it's safe. But don't give up and don't get discouraged. If you have a child that's going to high school next year, I want to tell you about one program in particular. If you are a low-income family, it's called Upward Bound.
Yes.
Upward Bound is an excellent program for you to get involved in.
Yes.
It will help your child. I got my nephew involved in it. It is a wonderful program that will track your child from 9th grade to 12th grade. It is excellent. They will help them do every step of the way. Also, talk to your counselors at the school. Call them, find out what programs, if your child's not eligible for Upper Bound, find out what programs they have for them. Find out what kind of avenues you could take and what kind of aid is out there for them to that they could get for college. And early college and different programs that they have. There's a lot of programs that they have at different schools that people don't know about. So just talk and open up and find out. Go to the PTA meetings. Go to the board meetings.
Yes, to get involved.
Get involved.
Yes.
A lot of times people think that you should, when they're in elementary school, that you should be involved with them in elementary school because they're little. But the time to get involved is 6th through 8th grade,
Yes.
9th through 12th. It's a known fact that 6th through 8th, if you are involved with them through 6th through 8th and they make it to high school, the majority of the kids that make it to high school will graduate.
Yes.
But it's those years between 6th and 8th where they struggle, where they're trying to find their identity. So if you start from 6th to 8th, visiting and stand on them about their work, talking to their teachers, getting involved. I know it's hard. Check your emails. Talk to their teachers. You know, right now it's a lot of kids that are failing because they're not even getting online. But you have to stay on them and don't get discouraged. I was reading today because even preparing for this, I thought about David. David, when when Samuel came to anoint David.
Yes.
And when he came to Jesse and he picked through all Jesse's sons, and they told him, said, well, there's one more, little shepherd boy. He said, well, we're going to stand right here and we're going to wait on him.
Yes.
We're going to wait on David to come out the field. Well, there's somebody waiting for David. You know, and all we got to do is just wait on them. Somebody's waiting on your son, your daughter for their greatness.
That's right.
Somebody waited on me. And when they waited on me, they opened up the door for me. They provided a way for me. And every step of the way through my life, somebody was there. It wasn't easy, but somebody was there to help me. My uncle, a cousin, a friend, strangers. But somebody was there. Pray. First thing, you got to acknowledge God. And when you acknowledge God, God will open the door. And you got to pray because prayer is the key.
Yes.
You got to pray. So all the Davids out there, don't think that just because you the last and you're not the strongest and you're not the smartest and you're not the most able and you're not the fastest, that God has overlooked you. He said, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prosper. So there's a plan that God has for your life. There's a expected end for your life. And I have accomplished more. I'm the first college graduate out of my mama family.
Wow.
I'm the first college graduate out of my mama's 7 children.
Wow.
And you know, and I did it. I did it because I want to be an example to my nieces and my nephews. I want to be an example to them that you could leave out of Waycross, Georgia.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Waycross, Georgia. But you could leave and you could do something and you could go somewhere.
Any good thing that comes out of
Nazareth. Is there any good thing that could come out of Waycross, Georgia? Yes, there is. I did. You know, and I thank God. I thank God for Deliverance Prayer Tower because I have 2 daughters.
Yes.
And God has.
Talk about you got 2 beautiful daughters.
Yes.
That I had the pleasure of help raising.
Raising, yes.
And being there. They was in my daycare.
Yes.
Yes.
They.
So talk about them.
My oldest daughter, Khadijah, she's 22. That's my hardworking woman. She's a hardworking.
Very hard worker.
Very hard worker, and that's the mother.
And all 3 of y'all look alike, so you look like triplets.
Yeah, she's the mother, and then Kalia, she's hardworking too. She's in her 2nd year at Albany State. She's the go-getter.
Yeah.
She's the one gonna go someplace. Deja, she gonna go someplace one day. But
she love hanging around her mom.
Yeah. But they're good girls, and
Yes.
the thing is, I tried to keep them in the church, and God kept them.
Yes.
Because, like you always told me, because God, I thought about somebody else's. God kept mine every time. And I'm not saying anything negative about my kids. It wasn't that they was the smartest. It wasn't that they didn't give me any trouble in school, because they did. But they were good girls.
Well, you know, that's how kids are when their mom is the teacher.
Yeah. Yes. But they were good girls, and they've made me proud. They made me and their daddy proud, and they're still making me proud right now. And, you know, and I thank God for them. They truly, what the Bible said, they are a blessing to me. They have and still are a blessing to me. And I'm looking for great things out of both of them. They are truly a blessing to me. And and that's what I try to give back. You know, even I have my great nephew trying to give him back, you know, what somebody gave to me.
Yes.
And that's what I want to give to children. And that's what I think as a church, we're supposed to empower kids to greatness.
Yes.
Even as a church. When we see a child in the church, we're supposed to uplift that child as a church. As a church, we're that child's village.
And, you know, and Deliverance Prayer Tower has been so blessed because, just like you say, you've been with us going on 23 years, and we have been so blessed just to have caring, loving, from the heart people like yourself. Listen, we are a church, and we're a church of that has a lot of youth, has a lot of youth, and we saw them every year graduated. We saw, and we thank God that you pushed them. Now they always say Sister Bear is mean, but Sister Bear is not mean. Sister Bear was firm, and so it's a different. But you made sure you loved them.
I'm gonna elaborate on that. They say I'm mean, but they still calling me.
Yes. But see, they understanding you now.
They
because they
understand
kind of
now.
like
They
got
understand
grown a
now.
little bit, and they are calling you now. So you know, and asking you, and you know, give them that advice that you've been trying to give them all the time.
All the time.
And so, but listen, but they love you.
I love them too.
They love you. But we just thank God. So looking back on your life, Sister Belle, what was some of your goals?
My main goal was to make my mama proud. My mama always told me.
I believe you did.
My mama always told me I used to wonder because when I was born, my mom was 35. She already had 5 kids when I was born, and they was like 12 to 5, and I came along 5 years later after my sister Judy, and so I used to wonder, well, why you always beating me when I made an F? And the only F I ever made was in gym. I hated PE. and then she told me one day, she said, well, because I know you could do it. And don't say can't. And I'm like, don't say can't. And I said, well, why I can't say? She said, don't say can't, because can't is not your word. And I was like, okay. So my goal was to make her proud, to make her that if she was living today, she could say, that's my baby.
Yes.
That's my baby. My baby did it. She did. And I really do believe that she's smiling down saying, okay, yeah, that's my baby. She's proud.
And just to encourage you, Sister Bear, and if I can be her spokesman, to speak in her behalf, I thank God for you. If I had 10 Sister Bears in Deliverance Prayer Tower, it would be great. I thank God for Deliverance Prayer Tower. I'm not putting down Deliverance Prayer Tower, anything like that. But I'm saying that to say this, that for 23 years, Sister Bear never gave us not one day of trouble. You now be honest now, as being a pastor, and this is what I'm trying to say. We do kind of say to God, now, you sure you sent that one over here? But that's what I'm trying to say. But that's never the case with you, Sister Bear. I think they used to always tease you by, all you do is say yes to Apostle. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You're a yes, ma'am girl. You know how the other kids,
Yes.
how the kids grow up, and they always say Sister Bear was a yes, ma'am girl. But Sister Bear was a smart girl. Mm-hmm. That's what it was. When some of the rest of them was rebellious.
Just say yes.
Just say yes. And that's what she always used to tell them, too. Say, all you got to do is smile and say yes. And so she was trying to help them. But anyway, so just to go back to saying about your mom, I know that she would have been very, very proud. You are a giving, oh my God, you are a giver. You taught your children that. And as I see them growing up today, they are a giver. You are a tither. You know, the Bible says, esteem one another highly. You know, and so I just want to just say, you are a beautiful person inside and outside. And what I love about you, you always put other people first before yourself. And I believe you got that from your mama.
And I was about to say that. I remember growing up, and that's the one thing I did not like about her. It was Mama was a giving person. She would give to anybody. I remember the lady across the street, she would give. The kids that used to beat us up in the neighborhood, she even gave to them. I'm like, they beat us up, hush, you know. I'm like, Mama, but she gave. She would pack up. I remember her packing up food, and we barely had food, taking to people that were sick. And when she would go to church, she would do the missions and go clean people's houses and give people money and that kind of stuff. And so the spirit of giving and now tithing is something that you taught me. This about blessing and tithing, and it has truly been a blessing to my house. That is open up is caused blessings to come upon my house. And so it was my pleasure to teach my children about giving and about to give first. You know, even during school time, you know, every year, me and my kids, we find a family to bless during school time. To the point where my girl, I don't even have to tell them. They telling me, Mama, who we gonna pick this year?
Yes,
and I'm
that's
like, okay,
right.
fine, pick somebody. And so, you know, but you know, I want them to be that
and you
way.
instill that in them, because even like right now, they have not biologically brought you grandchildren as of yet.
No.
But they done went and got everybody else's children.
Yes.
And your house should stay full of, because I must say, my little grandbaby just.
Yeah, my family has said, go on, tell the truth. You know that's Deja baby. And I'm like, no, that's not Deja baby. That is Deja goddaughter.
Yes, because they are giving. They does. Whenever they go to the mall, they're always remembering somebody and giving. And that's how the Lord just really, truly.
Yeah, giving rides.
Yes, yes. And I remember too, even those 23 years of coming up in Deliverance Prayer Tower, your little van was the church van.
Yes.
The church didn't have a van, but I
My
tell you, Sister Bear would, your station wagon and everything. Sister Bear would go and pick up the people and bring them to church, and Sister B would do this, and if anybody died, you had death in the family, Sister Bear was going to bring you the flowers and the cards and the cake, and I'm just telling you, just a woman of God that's so, and I don't believe that a lot of people know this about you. But I want you to know that Sister Bear is just Sister Bear, but this is a true woman of God. She is a prophet. Yes, she is. If she ever prophesies something to you, you better watch that thing. As the old folks would say, you better put a pin in it. Because I tell you, I had the privilege to sit here and pray noonday prayer with this woman of God. And I tell you, we were faithful. I'm talking about for many, many years. This is one of my prayer words. You think Sister Sugar Lump, go Pastor Lisa can pray. But I tell you, Sister Bear is one of my prayer warriors, one of my intercessors, and one that stays on the wall for me and my family. I'm telling you, Sister Bear has really been my backbone. I remember when, I didn't mean to go this way, but I remember when my my son was in prison.
Yes.
Sister Bear will call me, and she will always give me this scripture in the book of Isaiah. And Rachel reap, but her children is going to come back to their border.
Again.
And they're going to all sit at the table once again. Sister Bear gave me that word. And it was that word that I stood on. When time got hard, every time they were, what you call the thing?
Come up for his parole.
Come up for parole, and they
Had to do the review and everything.
and all of that. I'm trying to tell you, when they didn't pass
Yes,
it,
the review. Yeah.
she'll give me that word again and tell me to stand on that word. And I want you to know this day, we all sitting to the table.
Amen.
We all sitting to the table.
Last time I gave it to you is when we went to his graduation.
Yes.
We was leaving out, and I told you, I said, Apostle, I said, look at the door. I said, because it's the last time. I
That's
said,
what
he's
you
going to be
said.
coming back to your
That's
border.
what you told me.
I s-
Yes, and it
God,
came to pass.
It came to
Sister B.
pass.
Thank you so much
Thank
publicly.
God. Thank God.
Thank you so much publicly for
Thank God.
standing with me, standing by my side. I'm telling you, she would bring me when they got ready to set off. That's what it is. Set them off. Sister Bear would bring me flowers and bring me food, and she will always encourage me. But I tell you, thank you, Sister Bear. Thank you for praying for me, and still praying for me and my grandchildren.
Yes.
Thank you. God had assigned it you.
Yes.
He put you there
Yes.
to pray for us. And I tell you, thank you so much. So in the midst of, you done messed me up, Sister B. I'm trying to tell you, done messed me up. Yes, you done messed me up there. I'm trying to tell you. We're trying to talk about the young people.
That's right.
Oh, bless you, Jesus.
Praise God.
Even when I was a single mom.
Yes.
Oh, bless you, Jesus. Sister Bear will always tell me, Apostle, when I was pastor then,
Yes.
God could give you a good husband.
Mm-hmm.
And Sister Bear, I didn't let nobody drive my cars back then
Oh, God.
like that. And I tell you, when Bishop came into my life, I had an expedition.
You threw me the keys.
I
I said,
threw
oh,
Sister
Lord.
Bear the keys and told Sister Bear to take the car.
Yeah, that's it right here. She throwing me the keys.
Oh, God, me and Sister Bear been through some stuff.
Yes.
But I love you so much.
I love you too.
From the bottom of my heart.
I love you too.
Oh, you are chosen by God. You are certainly called by God. So in our closing, can you just elaborate on, right here, I know we're getting ready to wrap up everything. Can you, because we had not been giving away gifts lately, so can you just send in a number from 1 to 10? From 1 to 10. Okay. All right. Okay. You got the winner? Oh, okay. I can announce the winner? Okay. All right. We do have a winner, and Tanya Johnson is our winner.
Yeah.
Thank you. Woo! Woo! Go ahead on and type in your information, and we will get you your gift to you. And thank you so much for listening, tuning in, being just thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. We appreciate you. And we're just going to go ahead and just type it in, and we're going to sit. And we thank you, our supporters. Oh, we bless God for you for coming in every Monday, listening at the Real Table Talk. no more silence. There's a lot of, even Sister Bear was sharing that, even that's going on with our children. There's a lot of things that's on the inside of them that they wants to talk. They want an ear, and we need to give them an ear. So what our conversation was about, our table talk was about tonight. If you need any more information, if you want to get in touch with Sister Bear, hey, all you have to do is just let us know, and she'll be right on. And seriously, she will help you. She will help your children get to the right college. She will help them. So, Sister Bear, in our closing, can you just share, because I thank God for you. You having your, because listen, being in the church, I don't know who brought that message one time, but they used to tell us God don't want no happy dummies.
No.
And so, we thank God that that we don't have happy dummies, but that we have, educated people.
Yes.
We may not put it on our back, but I thank God, I thank God for who God has given to us. So, with your masters, with your bachelor's, with you being a teacher, you being a counselor, and a marriage. Oh my! Listen, if you got any problem in your marriage, just call Sister B.
Oh goodness.
The insurance man said, one call, that's all. Just call Sister Bear.
Oh Lord.
Listen, I'm telling you, she has her degree in this, and so she can help you really. And not only that, if you need a prayer warrior, she will help you. She will pray for you. She will go up on that wall, and I promise you, she will not come down until she get a praise report. So can you have our last words?
Well, I thank you so much for having me on your show. I just want to say to the youth and to the parents, please be encouraged. I know this is a trying time for everybody with the virus, and I hope that everyone has a pleasant holiday, that everyone stays safe during the holiday season. And it was a pleasure to be here. It was an honor. And I just love my Deliverance Prayer Tower family. I really do. I love y'all to death. I love you to death. And thank you for having me.
Thank you for just being that behind the scene person. You wear many hats, but you don't have to be seen. And that's the one that gets the greatest. It's the ones that's not have to be seen. You don't have to be all out there. You're not a what you call this is what I call it, important person.
No.
You don't have to be that important person.
I don't have to be in the limelight.
You ain't got to be in the limelight. You might be important, but you ain't got to be that important person. God is the important one.
Yes.
And that's the one that we must point to, him, and put him out there, because it's all about him. Yes. So I thank you for all the many hats that you wear in Deliverance Prayer Tower. Tonight we can't even go into all of it because you wear so many. Whatever your little hands find to do, and you just stay beautiful as you are.
Thank you.
You stay humble as you are. You stay loving and giving as you. I love your character.
I love you.
All right. Thank you so much for tuning in with us on tonight. Listen, tomorrow we will have our word motivation with Minister Julius Campbell. And so listen, tune back in with us again on tomorrow on Deliverance Prayer Tower page at 7 o'clock. We love you. Have a Merry Christmas. Please stay safe. Please be careful and stay prayerful. Good night.